ISO 27001 Annex A 8.14, redundancy of information processing facilities. Okay, this is a control that was introduced in the new version of the standard. It forms part of all of your backup strategy, your recovery strategy, your disaster recovery strategy. Let's have a look at what the standard wants and then quickly and easily, relatively easily show you how you're going to do it. So the definition is: information processing facilities should be implemented with redundancy sufficient to meet availability. Okay, not a lot of guidance in there. What we're focusing on here is information processing facilities. This is one of the controls that, as a rule, I would not have in scope on my SOA. As a rule, I would have it out of scope and I would have it on my risk register and I would accept the risk of it, and I would manage this through third-party management. What is the scenario, Stuart, in which you would do that? Where I am using cloud-based services, right? If I am in a situation where my dev, test, production environments are in the cloud, in AWS, in Microsoft, in whatever it may be, and these are fully managed by third parties, then there is little that I can do here other than setting out what my requirements are, right? So I'm going to be looking at making sure that I've got the redundancy in there, but if it is a case that I'm using a cloud-based services, the level that I can influence that is going to be vastly reduced. Yes, you may want to look at things like your implementation across availability zones. Yes. Yes, you might want to be looking at things about how you set up your virtual machines in that virtual machine environment. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. You want to make sure that you've got the redundancy built in. But when I'm looking at data center redundancy, information processing facilities redundancy, you know, if I am outsourcing it to a third party, then it is reliant, you know, I'm heavily reliant on them. And I am managing that through contracts and through their certifications and the compensating controls that I've got. Let's give you some tips about how I would do it. I would identify what the requirements are. So identify requirements you have for maintaining availability so you can understand what you need to implement. The best way to do that is through the BIA. We've touched on the BIA in a number of controls and the control itself. Understanding what a business impact assessment is, understanding what our requirements are on the availability of those systems, and then we're going to implement some controls around that. We're going to design and implement redundancy. This is where you need the guidance of subject matter experts in the technologies that you have. You are going to be reliant on your IT teams, your tech teams, your technology teams. Usually there is an element of duplication that meets redundancy requirements, and then implementing the procedures to activate those redundancy components, right? It may well be that you have a high availability environment and redundancy is just built in by the very nature of having multiple instances of a thing, right? That may be the case, but you are going to work with your technology teams to understand what we mean by redundancy, what we mean by invoking it, whether or not we need it, the level that we need it, and you're going to manage it through risk management by articulating and demonstrating what those compensating controls are. Where it is the case that we do have it, we're going to implement alerts. We've got monitoring and logging, and we're going to come on to that, and that covers a number of different things, capacity management, but also availability. So you want alerts in place that notify you when an element that is covered under redundancy fails, so that you can respond and run the processes and procedures that you have in place to recover it. So again, this might be part of your business continuity, disaster recovery, it's your operational planning, it's your operational running of these systems. It's about putting in monitors and alerts and reacting to those monitors and alerts proportionate to you and proportionate to what has occurred. Obviously, we have cloud computing. Cloud computing allows you advantages, including the potential to have multiple live versions of information processing facilities, multiple separate physical locations, automatic failover, load balancing, and more. You're going to work with your subject matter experts to see what you can leverage to meet your requirements. Once you've done it though, whatever it is that you put in place, it goes without saying that you're going to test it, and you're going to evidence the testing and the recovery and your ability to continue operation. You're going to test it, you're going to be able to show records of that, you're going to be able to show evidence of that, evidence that you did a successful test, and where the test wasn't successful, the continual improvement that you followed to make sure that you make changes in a controlled way that then evidence that that was resolved and it is now a successful recovery going forward. Huge reliance, right? Huge reliance on two things. Huge reliance on your third parties, right? Your cloud providers, huge reliance on them, and then huge reliance on your tech teams helping you with things that are specific to you. right? You have to get the help of your tech teams, your subject matter experts to help you understand. The auditor is going to be looking at documentation, that you've considered it, looking at your risk register, the risks and the compensating controls. They're looking for evidences that whatever it is that you put in place is working, that you tested it, and that you can evidence that it was successful and you can recover. That's how you're going to pass this particular control. My name is Stuart Barker, the ISO 27001 Ninja, and until the next tutorial, peace out.